Okay, good morning. Let us start. Before going to the any new topic, I would like to discuss today one important thing that I want to recapitulate is the use of LOC attribute. The LOC attribute of data frame is very important attribute, and you need to know the total syntax of that LOC attribute. We have discussed LOC attribute in detail in our previous classes, but I think we need to concentrate once more on this particular attribute in detail, the syntax in detail, because this particular syntax is very useful when you are going to access the data frame elements, right? So let us just find out, recapitulate how we can best use this LOC attribute of data frame. The LOC attribute. So we will just concentrate on this particular attribute of data frame. Okay, so what is that LOC attribute of data frame? The LOC attribute is used for used to access data frame elements, right? Data frame elements based on row indexing, row labeling, row label and column label name. Now let us find out what is the general syntax for this particular data LOC attribute. The general syntax for this particular LOC is something like this. Suppose you want to access a particular element, you can access one single element, you can access a group of element, you can access multiple elements of it from the data frame with using the single syntax. There is one single syntax which you can use to access a range of elements from the data frame. You can access multiple elements of the data frame, or you can access one single element. So let us see the general syntax. The general syntax is the data frame portion that you want to just cut out, and then the original data frame dot LOC, and then you have to pass here row start index label, row start label, colon column start label, sorry, row end label, and then comma column start label, colon column end label. So this is the total syntax, complete syntax for LOC attribute. Now you can see here, that means shortly we can just shortly write it as something like this: df1 is equal to df dot, if df1 and df are the names of the data frame, we can write it like df dot LOC, and then you can write here the row start label, means row lower index, row lower colon row upper, comma column lower colon column upper label. So this you can write. Okay, so this is how you access the elements from the data frame. Now using this syntax you can access the whole lot of elements, means a range of elements from the data frame, row wise and column wise both. or you can access a single element from particular data frame, or you may access what, multiple elements in a random order. In a random order, you can access multiple elements from the data frame. Let us find out what does it means. Let us find out what does it means. So let us see one example. We have our example as data frame as, that was what example we were using. We were using that I hope we were using our common data frame as that one, the result data frame, right? The result data frame we were using, where you have just uh, suppose you are passing some values in particular thing, right, order, in a result of a particular student. Say for example, in a particular subject, uh, in a particular exam, what a student have scored. So let us just make one data frame, example data frame, and then we will just put the syntax work on that particular data frame. Let us do it. So I will write the result. I will name my data frame as result. Result is equal to, and then I will write here import pandas as pd, and then pd dot data frame, and here I will supply data frames, the values with columns with multiple values and all that. So for example, UT1, in UT1, these are the scores in various subjects. Say for example, in physics, chemistry, maths, and physics, chemistry, maths, and IP and English, right? So UT1 you have got 20, 28, 32, and then 25, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 subjects. So you have got 18, say for example. And in UT2 you have got colon. In UT2 you have got say 31, and then 30, and then you have got 40, and then you have got 29, and you have got 35 in 5 subjects. And then again in half yearly you have got out of 100 or 700, out of 100 you have got, say for example, 73, 79, 82, and then you have got 80 and 92, say for example. Okay, so all these are the things over here. Now we have what, the final, the session ending examination, SEE, and here you have got out of 100 again you have scored 85, 82, 85, and then 86, and then 89 and 95 again in these 5 subjects. So this is the end of our particular data frame. So this is our data frame. Now you must also, I will not end here, I will give row labels also. So how to pass row labels? Can you tell me? I want to also index the subject names. These are the marks scored in the subjects. These are the columns. Since we have taken dictionary, so the keys will be treated as a columns. No, UT1, UT2, UT3, half yearly, and SE. I want the subject name. So what I should write here? Subject indexing I want, means row indexing. Subject, I want the subject names as row index, as row labels. So what I should write here? Can you tell? What I should write here? If this is the syntax pd.data frame, I have supplied one dictionary, and now I want that this subject names should be passed as a row indexes, means row labels, something like that, so that our data frame looks like something like this: ut1, ut2, half yearly, SEE, and then the five subject names: math, physics, chemistry, then English, and then IP. These five subject names are here, suppose, and then the marks, whatever marks was there, it will be. So I want something like this, output something like this. What I should write? How to name this these row labels? How would we name these row labels? It's quite easy to do. You have to pass which parameter? Index, right? Index parameter, and in index you have to write the names of the subject. So math, physics, chemistry, English, and biology. Sorry, uh, IP, IP, and then you must close the data frame syntax. So this is our data frame. Okay, this is our data frame which we have created. Now using this data frame, I will do the work. I will access the elements using this particular common syntax. So let us find out what does it means. So it will, my data frame will look like something like, the values will be put here. So the first value is for mathematics. The first values are for mathematics: 20, 28, 32. So 20, 28, 32. So these subject wise marks are there. The first UT marks. The first UT marks is here. The column wise marks, I have supplied the column wise marks, right? So the first column will go to the first UT. All the values will go under the first UT. The second values will go under the second UT, and so on, right? So what will be how the values will be displayed? The values will be displayed something like 20, 28, 20, 28. Sorry, 20, 28, 32, 32, how 20, 28, sorry, it will be something like this: 20, 28, and then 32, 32, 25, 18, 32, 25, and 18, right? And then the next value will be going to the next place, that is UT2. UT2 marks will be here, 31, and then 30, 40, 29, and 20, 35. And the half yearly marks will come here, 73, and then 79, and then 82, 80, and the last one is 92. And then you have the session ending examination marks: 82, 85, 86, 89, and 95. So these are the values which are there, right? So in this way our data frame will be displayed. Now I want to capture, if I'm writing this, what will be the result? What will be the output? If I'm writing, say for example, this one, x is equal to pd dot, sorry, not pd, result. Now the name of our data frame is result. So result dot look, loc location, and here I am passing in the column index I am passing, sorry, in the row index I am passing, say for example, physics colon physics colon yeah, physics colon, and then I'm passing here comma, and I'm passing here simply as this one, colon ut2. Can you tell me what will be the output? If I'm going to print now, if I'm going to print x, what will be the output the x will give us? If this is our data frame, This is our data frame. This particular thing is our data frame. And I have written what? I have written physics colon, and then in location I have passed physics colon. Now you can see, you can just match the syntax. Just match the syntax, match this syntax with the syntax given. Match this particular line with the syntax given. Here the start label, row label, the start row label is physics. The end row label is not given. You can just see that I have not supplied anything here. I have not supplied anything here. Okay, I have not given anything here. So the row label is not given for this particular thing, right? So end row label is not given. End row label is not given. So here I have not mentioned the end row label, right? So end row label is not given, and here start column label is not given. At this point we have not given any start column label. I have not given any start column label. So what would be the output? What output it will give you? What output it will show you? Can you tell? So this will be giving you a simple output, very simple output. What? Just see here what it will do. It will start the row label from physics. From physics, the row will start. The row counting will start, and it goes up to the last row. Since you have not mentioned the end row index, so it will go up to the last row. Likely here you can see that in column we have not given any start column, so it will start from the first column, as we were doing in the slicing in array in lists, right? List slicing, as you can remember that we in Python we have done list slicing, and we have done what? String slicing. So something like that. Okay, here the row slicing is being done and the column slicing is being done. If the column end index is not mentioned, the slicing will be done from the first index up to the last. And if the starting index is not given, it will start from the 0th index, means the first one, the first row label. So what will be the output? It will be showing us something like, it will be showing up, the output will be showing up something like this. The output will be, it will start from physics. It will start from physics. It will start from physics, and then the next subject will come, and then the next subject is your, what is the next subject? The next subject is chemistry, English, IP. So chemistry, English, IP. So this will go up to chemistry, English, and IP. Chemistry, English, and IP. Okay, it will go up to chemistry, English, and IP. And then here it will start from, we have not mentioned which exam it should start with. So it will start from UT1 and it will go up to UT2. It will go up to UT2. Up to UT2 it will go, right? So it will go up to UT2. So that will go up to UT2. So this particular, and then the marks of UT1 and UT2 in physics, chemistry, English, and IP will be shown. Okay, so that is so the marks will be given here. It will be showing the marks over here. All these places the marks will be given, right? So this will be the output of our particular syntax. So this is a common syntax which you can use to access the elements of the data, right? The next topic is comparison of Panda series and NumPy ND array. So let us compare the Panda series with NumPy ND array. NumPy ND array is something similar to the Panda series because it presents the data in a two-dimensional matrix, 2 or 3-dimensional, as many as you like. It may present the data in a matrix form in a row-wise or column-wise fashion, just like Panda series. So they look very similar to each other, but there is some difference between them. The basic difference between the series and ND array is that the operations between the series automatically align the data based on the labels. So what is the basic difference? The basic difference between this Panda series and this one is that the operations between series automatically align the data based on the label, right? So it automatically align the data based on the label. That is a basic difference. That means it's very much, the data are very much linked with the labels. As the label move from one position to another, the data also move along with them. So it is very closely associated with the labels attached to them. So as the label move, the data also move. Okay, so that is a very basic difference. And we can write computations considering all the series involved above with the same label or not. So we can have this. So we can do computations. We can write all computations. Based on, without considering whether all series involved have same label or not, So even if the series are having different labels, you can still do operations. Those series which are having same labels will be treated as a common thing. It will be treated as the same thing, and the operations will be likely done on them. Whereas if the labels are different, it will be treated differently, and the operations will be done taking the labels as different labels, right? So that is what is very much important here to understand. So this is the difference between Panda series. So let us jot down the difference. Let us jot down the main differences between the Panda series and ND array. So let us tabulate the differences between the Panda series and NumPy arrays. So these are the basic differences. The number one being, in series we can define our own label. We can define our own labels. Label index to access elements of an array. These are numbers. These may be numbers. These can be numbers or letters. It can be letters. Whereas in NumPy array always index wise you access the In NumPy array, always we access the elements index wise, right? So NumPy arrays are accessed. NumPy array are accessed by their integer index position only. Integer position, starting from 0. Integer position using numbers only. Numbers only. Okay, so this is what we have. So this is the first point of difference, that you can label names in Panda series, whereas in NumPy no such naming is there. You have to access the elements using the numeric index. Numeric index is starting from 0 to n-1. Now the second difference is the elements in Panda series, the elements can be indexed in descending order. Also, so you can index the elements in descending order. Actually what happens in Panda series, no indexes, though we are giving numbers, but they are treated as names. Internally they are treated as names. Okay, but in case of NumPy array, the indexing always starts with 0. The indexing starts with 0 for the first element. 0 for the first element, and the index is fixed, You cannot change the index starting from anywhere. It should start from 0 only. Then the next point is, if two series are not aligned, that means their columns names are not aligned. If two series are not aligned, even then also operations can be carried out. Not aligned, NaN or missing values are generated. Even they are not aligned, NaN or the missing values are generated. But that is not the case with the NumPy array. There is no concept of NaN values, and if there are no matching values in array, alignment fails. The alignment fails. Okay. Now let us come to the next point further. The last point is, series require more memory. So Panda series require more memory because it automates many things, right? Whereas NumPy occupies lesser memory, because Panda series is much complex object than the NumPy object, right? So that is why it takes much memory than that of the NumPy object. So this is all about the first part of the Python Panda. This completes the Python Panda first part, where we have seen how to create Python Panda series, how to create NumPy array using NumPy array, how to create Panda series. Then we have seen how to create data frames and creation of data frame using different methods. creation of data frame using dictionaries, creation of data frame using list of dictionaries, creation of data frame using dictionaries of lists, and then we have seen creation of data frame using NumPy array, and then we have seen the operations that can be done on the NumPy data frame, Panda data frame, and what are the different types of accessibility that we can perform on data frame as well as series. Apart from that, we have learned about different attributes of both series and data frame objects, right? So this chapter covers all these things, and you must have to go through the exercise. The chapter and exercise is given in page number 61 of your textbook, NCERT textbook, page number 60 and 61. So I would request you to go through all the exercise examples given in the page number 60 and 61. So whatever examples are given there, no, you should do each one of them, because all are important, and they are small examples, though small exercises, so you can do that, and then you can just go through the different higher questions, right? So let us do some questions. Let us do some questions from this exercise. One or two questions I will do, and then we will move on to the next thing. Okay. So let me just do few questions from this particular exercise, chapter end exercise. Right. So let us see. So the first question that is given here is that it is asked that create the following series. The question is create the following series. Create the following series and do the specific operation, specified operation. So you have to ask to create a series and do the operations that follows. What? The first is ENG alpha ALPH having 26 elements with the alphabets as values and default index values. So English alphabet, you have to name a series called English alphabet having 26 elements, where each element is one alphabet, and they will be, the values will be the alphabets, and the index will be having some default index 0 to 25. The default index values you have to use. The second question is, we'll do one by one each one of them. Let us just ponder about the question now for the time being. Vowels having 5 elements with index label A, E, I, O, U, and all five values set to 0. Check if it is an empty series. If it is an empty series. So let us do these 2 questions first, and then we will move on to the next few more questions in this particular part. Let us try to solve these 2 questions first. So the first answer, let us have the first solution for the first question. The first question is the solution for A. the solution for A is English alphabet. You have to define one series called English alphabet with 26 elements. So English alphabet is equal to, so you have to import first, import pandas as PD. You must write this line because it carries some marks, right? So in each question you should write at least this particular line has to be written because it carries marks. So import pandas as PD, and then you write here English.alphabet PD.series, and here what you will pass? You will pass elements, 26 elements as alphabet values and their default index. So what you will do, simply you will write here the 26 elements, right? You will just pass here 26 elements over here. Now instead of passing this 26 element in a list, you may generate a Python list also by writing comprehension. List comprehension you may use. Instead of writing 26 elements separately, write like this: A, B, C, D, like this. What you can do is, you don't have to write like this because it will take some time to write 26 alphabet in a row, right? So what I will do now is, instead of writing this, doing the question like this, I will use list comprehension. Now I have taught you list comprehension previously. So here you can see that using list comprehension we can do it. How we can do it? We can just go through the ASCII indexes, the ASCII values of A, B, C, D. The ASCII value of A is 65 and it ends up to 26th letter, that is A plus 65 plus 26, that gives you 56 plus 11, 1, and then 7, 8, 9, 91. So 65 to 91, if I am going to generate a list of characters between the ASCII code 65 to 26 using a loop in a list comprehension, we can do it. So let us just try it out, the list comprehension. What I will write here, CHR of I, and here I will write for I in range, and I will start my range from 65 to 92. That makes 91. Up to 91 it will go on, and it will generate the ASCII code for all these values, and that ASCII code is being written in this comprehension, list comprehension. As I am going to convert this ASCII code into corresponding character using CHR of I. So this is what is a list comprehension. I can just apply the list comprehension over here, and then that will give us a series. It will give us a series. So let's just try it out in a code window, and so that we can just see that whether it is executable or not. So just let us write here import pandas as PD, and then I will write here x is equal to PD dot, or series is equal to PD dot series, and here I will just pass the list comprehension CHR of I for I in range 65 to 91. Okay, 65 to 92, sorry. And then this list comprehension will do. And since we don't have to take any index, in the question it is asked that you should use the default index, so I will not use any index, and it will generate as the series. So let us just print this series, print this value of S, and see what it gives us. Now you can see it gives us this whole series, right, starting from index 0 as capital letter A up to capital letter Z. But we have exceeded that list, so it will be up to 90, not 91. It will be up to 90. So we have to add 25 to that A. We have started from 65, so we have to add 25, not 26. So we have wrongly calculated it. So it will go up to 91 only. so that it is coming up to 90, 65 to 90, that makes A to Z. So that was the mistake we did. So we just correct out our mistake here. We will just make it sure that it is 91. Now you can print this S and you can just see that it is printed A to Z. All the letters are printed with default index. That was a question which was being asked. Okay, so just let us remove this one and write here 91, so that the loop goes from 65 to 90. Okay, so this is the answer for the first question. You don't have to write A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H like that. You can just use list comprehension to generate a list of alphabets, right? Now the next question, the solution to the next question, solution B. And the solution B is quite clear. You have to name a series called vowel. You have to create a series called vowel having 5 elements with index label A, E, I, O, U. The labels are A, E, I, O, U. All 5 elements set to 0. Now the values are set to 0. The vowel values are set to 0. Values should be 0 and the index label should be A, E, I, O, U, the name of the vowel, right? So what to write? We have to write vowel, the variable name, the data frame, the series variable name is equal to pd dot series, and here all the values are set to 0. So you need to set the values as 0. So all the values should be taken as 0. So this will be series, and here you will just set 0, 5 zeros, 5 vowels are there, 1 2 3 4 5, 5 zeros, and then here you will write index is equal to, the labeling is done, the index labeling is being done as A, E, I, O, U, as said in the question, as it is told in the question that you should label the index with A, E, I, O, U, the names of the vowel. So you will write here A, E, I, O, U. So that's it. So this will create a series with index names as the vowel names and the values as zeros. So let us just execute it also and see whether this gives us the exact series or not. So x is equal to pd dot series, and here I will write here the 5 zeros are being given. Okay, 5 zeros are being given. Okay, and then you can write here a index as equal to A, E, I, O, U, A, E, I, O, U. Okay, so this is what we have, and then we will print this x. Now you can see it is giving us the same thing. It is showing the values as 0 0 0 0 and the indexes are labeled as A, E, I, O, U. Okay, so that is what was asked in the question. Now let us move on to the next part of this question. Another other parts of the same question. Let us do that. The next part is question number C. What is question C? The question C is being given here as you have to make series called friends. You have to make series called friends from a dictionary, using a dictionary, from a dictionary having roll numbers as of 5 of your friends, as data, and their first name as indexes, name as keys. So how to do that? So it's quite easy. Let us write the solution here. Only we'll write the solution. What is being asked? You have to create a series called friends. Where you will create that series using a dictionary. So friends is equal to pd dot series. S should be capital, pd dot series, and here you have to pass the roll numbers of 5 of your friend as data. The roll numbers are treated as data and their first name is treated as keys. So you have to create a dictionary. You have to create a dictionary where you will write the name of your friend, the first name of your friend as the data, as a key, and the data as their roll numbers. The roll numbers are 17, say for example. Then Ram 23, for example, and then we have Aditi colon 27, and then we have Sachin colon 50. So like that, of five elements, no, 5 friends it is asked. How many friends? 5 of you. So one more. So Suresh 18. So like that you are passing the data. You are passing the data to the dictionary. So this is the dictionary you have made. So this is what we have. So this was a easy question to do. So it is not a tough question. You just have to define a dictionary. You have to pass it. Or you may do it separately. You may create a dictionary and you can pass that dictionary as the parameter to the series. Or you may write like this: dictionary. You can first create your dictionary. You just create your dictionary like this: Rohit colon 17 comma Ram colon 23 dot 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 dot. You create your dictionary and then you pass this dictionary to the friends. While making the series friends, you pass this as a parameter to the series function. So D, you can do it like this also. 2 lines. In 2 lines you can do it. So either you can do it in a single line or you could do it in the two different lines. As you like, you can do. Now let us go for the next question, the D part. Let us do for the next question. The next question over here is, the next question is empty series. There is a series called empty series. You have to create an empty series, and empty series, this is an empty series itself. An empty series means no elements. There are no elements in it. Empty series you have to create. Check if it is an empty series. So can you do it? How to do it? How to do this question? Empty series, you have to create an empty series. So it's a very simple thing to do. You just have to name the series S is equal to pd dot series, and in the parameter you are not supposed to pass anything. So it will create an empty series, and then you can just, what you can do, you have to check whether it is empty or not. So there is an attribute of series which we can use, is empty. There is a method or attribute is empty. So you can just put that particular attribute onto the series to find out whether the series is particularly empty or not. Okay, so there is a attribute called empty. So check if it is an empty series. So you have to write code: if s dot empty is equal to true, we will say that print the series is empty. The series is empty. So this is the checking that is asked in the question to be done, right? So if so this empty attribute should be used. S dot empty is equal to true, because it returns, this empty attribute returns what? True or false. If the series is empty, then it returns true, otherwise it returns false. So if it is true, that means it is empty, and then you can just print it out like this. Now let us see the next question. The next question in this particular thing is question number E, is to create a series called, you have to create a series month days. There is the series name is month days, and here what you have to do, from a numpy array, from a numpy array having the number of days in the 12 month, days in the 12 months of a year, the labels should be the month numbers, starting from 1 to 12. So this is the question which is to be done. You have to create month days and you have to use a numpy array. You have to use a numpy array having the number of days in the 12 months of the year. Means you have to have a array called number of days, and each of them will have the days in a particular month, 12 months. The label should be the numbers, month numbers starting from 1 to 12. The label of the series, that series should be this one. So how to do it? This is quite easy to do. Just see here. Simply you have to create, first you have to create a numpy array. So you have to write import. The solution for E will be something like this: import pandas as PD. You should always write this line. Okay, import, you have to import numpy also here, because you need to use numpy to create numpy array. So as np, and then you will create a numpy array arr or month names, or month days. So md, I will call it md is equal to np dot array. There is a function called array function which creates a numpy array with from a list of values, and this list of value will have all the 12 months having the number of days in the 12 months, right? The first month is January, it contains 31. The February is containing 28. The third month is March, it contains again 31. April 30, May 31, June 30, July 31, August 31, September 30, October 31, then again November 30, December 31. So these are the 12 values, and you have to pass label, the row labels, the index as month numbers. You have to pass index as month number as it is told here. So index is equal to month number. You can just iterate and you can write here. So index is equal to, you can write here, you can pass here the series value, or you can just simply do what? If you don't want to write 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12, you can simply use a list comprehension to write. You can generate the list comprehension using a loop. You can do that, no problem. Or you can simply write 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12. So this is what we have. So this is the first thing has to be done here up to this point. This index will be passed in the series syntax, right? We have not created series, we have created numpy array. So we will not pass here the index parameter, right? Index parameter is in the series function. So this is wrong. It should not be written here. What instead we will do, we will just create a numpy array, and we will, using that numpy array, we will create the series. Now we will create the series in the next line. So in the next line, what you will do, you will create a series called month days, right? The name of the series is month day, as it is given in the question, month days. So you have to write month days is equal to pd dot series, and here you will pass what? The numpy array md, and then you have to pass here what I told, index is equal to 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12. You can pass it here. Okay, so this is what we have, month days, and then you can just print it out. So this is how you create a series by having the month numbers and month days. Okay, so this is all about creating series in different ways. The questions may be asked like this in your exams also. Small questions may be given to create series with different types of parameters like lists, like array, numpy array, or you may use dictionary, etc. Now let us move on to the next question. One more question we will try to do now, and that will be from the data frame. We'll try to do that thing from the data frame, right? So the next question is create the question is create, it's question number 9 we are doing. Create the following data frame sales containing year wise sales figure for 5 salesperson in INR, Indian rupees. Use the years as column labels, and salesperson names as row labels. The data frame should look like this. Madhu, Kusum, Kinshuk, Ankit, and Shruti. And here you will write the year names as column labels: 2014, 2015, 2016, and 2017. And then you will post the data in Indian rupees: 100.5, 150.8, 200.9, 30,000, 40,000, and here 2015, 12,000, 18,000, 22,000, 30,000, 45,000. In 2016 also some values are there. So it's given in the question, that particular value, or you may 70,000, 1 lakh, 1,25,000. So 50,000, 60,000, 70,000, 80,000, and 90,000. So this is what the data is. So you have to create this series, this particular data frame you have to create, and then you have to perform some operations. What are these operations? On the following series, on the above data frame, perform data frame, do what? The questions are: number A, display the row labels of sales. So that data frame name is sales, right? And then your next question is display the column labels of sales. C is, next question, display data types of each column of sales. So let us do these three questions first on that particular data frame, and then we will move on to the next three questions. So what will be the solution? The solution will be first to create data frame, right? So first we will create the data. How to create the data frame? As per the data given in the question, we will create the data frame. The name of the data frame is sales. So we have to keep that name only, whatever is given in the question. So first you have to import. What do you have to import? Import pandas as PD, and now we can just create this data frame using dictionary of list. We can use a dictionary in which the values, the column names will be acting as a key, and the values under the column will be acting as a list. So we can pass that, and we can create a pandas data frame. So let us first create the dictionary. Dictionary of values, dictionary of sales. So the dictionary of sales will be something like this. The first the name of the column labels will be given here. So 2014, under that we have all the values. Under that we have the values as this one. These are the values: 100, 0.5, 150, 0.8, comma, the column wise. We are just taking the values, reading the values column wise, right? 150, then we have 200.9, then we have 30,000, and then we have 40,000. And this is for all the salesmen, right? For all the salesmen, and for all the salesperson, we are writing the values for 2014. So these are the 5 values for 5 salesperson for 2014. Then next comes the 2015. So 2015 will have the next set of values: 12,000, 18,000. We are reading column wise again. I am saying that 22,000. Then we have 30,000. Then we have 45,000. Then we can go for the next column header, and that is for 2016. We will write 20,000. We'll write 50,000. We'll write 70,000. We'll write 10,000. 1 lakh, sorry. And then we will write 1,25,000. And then we can go for 2017, and the data for 2017 are 50,000, 60,000, 70,000, 80,000, and 90,000. And then we will close this dictionary. The sales dictionary is being closed. The sales dictionary is closed. Now using this sales dictionary, we will create the series data frame. So our data frame sales will be equal to pd.data frame, and here what we will write, we will just pass here the dictionary dict sales, and we should name the row labels. Row labels are not even given, so we have to pass index is equal to, and we have to pass the names of the row labels. The row labels are the names of the salespersons, right? So Madhu is the first salesperson, the second one is Kusum, then we have what? We have other salesperson as, the next salesperson is Kinshuk, the next one being Ankit, the next one being Shruti. So we will just close it out and then we'll just close this. So this creates the data frame. This creates the data frame. This is all about creating the data frame, the correct data frame, right? It will create the table that is given in the question. That data frame will be created. Now let us solve the questions, right? The solution of A, the question number A was display the row labels of the sales. Sales, you have to display all the row labels. So how to display the row labels? How to display the row labels? There is an attribute called rows, right? Data frame dot rows. So data frame dot all the row labels, you should display all the row labels, right? So data frame dot what? To display the row labels of data frame, you need to display indexes. So data frame dot, the first solution will be, you have to simply write sales dot index. So print sales dot index will give you all the print sales dot index. Sales dot index will give all the row labels, right? The next question was solution B. The next question is what? The next question for the thing is, it is being asked here, display the column labels of the sales. How to display the column labels? You can simply write print sales dot columns, right? So columns is an attribute of data frame which display all the column labels. So columns. So that is solution B. Now let us come to the next question. The next question, the question number C was, to display the, what was the question number C? Display the data types of each column of the sales. So there is an attribute called d types, right? So sales dot d types. So it will print all the data types of the each column, right? Now let us come to the next questions. The question number A, B, C is done. We have D. The question number D is display the dimension, shape, size, and values of sales. Okay, so this has to be displayed. And then question number E is display the last two rows of sales, right? Okay. And then we have next question, display the first two columns of sales. And so we'll do these two questions first, and then we will move on to the next thing. Okay, so the first two questions is solution to the first question, the solution to D. So we'll write the solution to D. Now what is the solution to D? The question is display the dimension, shape, and size. So dimension, shape, and size. So you have to print what? You have to print sales dot to print that to get the dimensions. Dimension means row number and column numbers. To print the row numbers and column numbers, the dimensions, right? So dimensions will be shape and size. So shape, sales dot shape, then you can print comma sales dot size. You can print sales dot size, and then you can print sales dot values. So all these will give you the three things which is asked in the question. Now let us go for the next question, the E part. The solution for E part is, what was the question? The question is, in the E part it is asked that display the last two rows of the sales. Last two rows. So what do you have to write? To display the last two rows of the sales, what you need to write? Print sales dot what? There is head, there is tail. So tail, and the last two rows. For last two rows you will write tail 2. Now the next question, solution EF. The F question was display the first two columns of the sales. Display the first two columns. So to display the first two columns of the sales, you should write sales dot head, and then first two columns बोला है. You just okay, not first two rows. It will give you the two rows. First two columns. It is asked first two columns of the first two columns. The first two columns are for whom? The first two columns are for whom? They are for 2014 and 2015. For 2014 and for 2015 you have to print the values. So what to write? What to write? You will use look, right? Before starting this session, in the starting of this session we have discussed about LOC, right? That syntax we will use here. So you need to only write what? Column values, not the row values. So row indexing will not be done. So simply you will write a colon for row and just leave it. So what? Just see here how to print the first two columns only. First two columns. So what you will write? Sales dot loc, and here you will pass colon. Colon means the row one. The colon comma means this colon means for every row. For each row you have to do what? You have to find the first two columns. So you will split up the columns as what will be the column names? The columns will be from the 2014 to 2015. So what you will write? You will write colon 2015. So colon 2015. So this will give you the first two columns. The first two columns which each row. So this will print the sales of the first two columns. You can write it any other way also. You can make use of a list of columns also, no problem. So but that is the general syntax which you can use and you can just print the values. The next question is the last part of this particular question, the G part. The G part is, the question G is, create a dictionary using following data. Use this dictionary to create a data frame. Sales 2. So this is what we have given. What we have been given: Madhu, Kusum, Kinshuk, Ankit, Shruti, and we need to write here 2018, and we have to pass here 1,60,000, 1,10,000, 1,50,000. We have to write 34, 3,40,000, 5 lakhs, and then we have to write 9 lakhs. Okay, so 2018. So create a dictionary using the following data. Use this dictionary to create a data frame sales 2. So you have to create a data frame called sales 2. So dictionary, using dictionary you can create a data frame. No, it's not a big issue. You can always create a data frame using this dictionary. So what is being asked here? You have to first create the dictionary. So what will be the solution for G is, you have to create the dictionary first. So sales dictionary you have to create. Sales dictionary is equal to, and you will just write here the column names. The column names will be the column name will be the particular thing, this one. So the column name will be 2018 and the row label is this one. So what you have to write here is 2018 will be your column index, and the values under it will be this one: 1,600, 11,000, and then 50,000, 5 lakhs, and then 34, 3,040 lakh, 40,000, 3 lakhs 40,000, and 9 lakhs. Okay, so this is the dictionary, and then now you create sales 2. there is a data frame called sales2 you have to create. So pd dot data frame, you will write pd dot data frame, and here you will supply what? You will supply this dictionary, sales dictionary, and you must not forget to write index, and in the index you should pass the name of the all the salesmen. Madhu, and then Kinshuk, Ankit, Shruti. Okay, so this is the way you create the data. So this is the question. These are the 2 questions that I have done for you from the exercise. Rest, many questions are there. There are almost 50 questions, about 50 questions, 50 different small questions. So you need to practice that exercise, and you need to do this to end this chapter, right? So please do the chapter end exercise so that we could go for the next chapter next day. So in the next class, what we will do, let us have a glimpse of that. In the next coming up the class, in the next week class, what we will do, we will be doing some statistical computing on data frames, right? Using some we can perform some statistical descriptive statistics on data frames. So we will do that in the next coming up class. So thank you for this session. We'll meet again.